Rapacious wolves in the robes of shepherds. Rapacious wolves in the robes of shepherds. The Cathars didn't only criticize the higher-ups in the Roman Church, but also the priests, who in their eyes were no longer shepherds but wolves. The verse quoted above, rapacious wolves in the robes of shepherds, comes from Dante placing it in the mouth of no less a person than the Apostle Peter, putting forward again to the letter what the Cathars claimed. And it is always the cursed money that has made wolves of the shepherds. Dante, however, quite often uses the word shepherd for the various popes or other representatives of the clergy, but always with a, page 243, derogatory connotation. Clement V is a lawless shepherd. The Bishop of Feltre is the impious shepherd, or with sarcasm, as in the heavy mockery of other prelates put in the mouth of Peter Damian. Once there were Cephas and the Holy Ghost's great vessel. They were barefoot, they were lean, they took their food at any inn they found. But now the modern pastors are so plump that they have need of one to prop them up, on this side, one on that, and one in front, and one to hoist them saddleward. Their cloaks cover their steeds, two beasts beneath one skin. Paradise 21, 127 to 134. We're not dealing with some isolated case, some unworthy pope. Dante's condemnation of the men of the church is almost total. His hell is full not only of popes and cardinals, but also of ordinary clerics, above all in the circle of the greedy. And Beatrice, in her second last discourse, inveighs against the widespread malice of wisecracks from the pulpits and telling idle stories, just as long as they can raise a laugh, no more is asked. But in such wise that the lambs who do not know come back from pasture fed upon the wind, and not to see the harm does not excuse them. Christ did not to his first disciples say, "Go forth and to the world preach idle tales," but unto them a true foundation gave. Paradise 29, 106 to 111. Page 244. True foundation that no one proclaims any more. Certainly, there are other verses that have quite a different tone, like when Beatrice says, "You have the New and the Old Testaments. You have the shepherd of the church that guides you. You need no more than this for your salvation." Paradise 5, 76 to 78. In the commentaries, one reads that the shepherd of the church that guides you is the Pope. The Pope. Dante assigns to hell all the popes of his time, including Boniface VIII, who at this time of the journey into the afterlife was still alive, and even Clement V, who had not even been elected Pope. That will only happen in 1305. It can't be the Pope, because that would be too blatant a contradiction, with the thousands accused of being unworthy and incapable of guiding the people. It is true that the comedy is full of contradictions, but not in paradise. The blessed never contradict themselves. Who then is the shepherd that guides you, and what church is he speaking of? We must never forget that at that time still existed, although dying, another church, the Church of Love, the Cathar Church. To my mind, this is what Dante is referring to here, and three other facts also demonstrate this. A little after the verses quoted above, Beatrice exclaims, Christians proceed with greater gravity, and Christians was, as we have seen, one of the names with which the Cathars called themselves. This fact alone says little, but becomes significant if connected to when it says, You have both testaments, the New and the Old. It was the Cathars and the Waldensians who spread the Bible, translated by them into modern languages. The Catholic Church not only didn't circulate it, but they prohibited it being written. This is, therefore, further proof of the fact that Beatrice is speaking here of Cathar shepherds and their church, because one thing is certain, it is an incontrovertible historical fact. The Catholic Christians did not have the New and the Old Testament.